Hello everyone, this is Judaism I from Pakistan and you're watching my YouTube channel Insani Bihar, which aims to incorporate a bit of humanity in all of us through understanding and awareness. So today, actually I came across this really wonderful concept. Actually there is someone really great who takes some time out every weekend actually to teach me some Torah, how to read the Torah in like Hebrew. So we were having a session today as well, and while we were learning, that person actually sort of mentioned this wonderful thing about conversion and about converts, and it just that just struck me. I mean that just struck me into my head, into like it just went through my soul, and it literally went through my soul, my spine and my head. And I think, I mean, it's been, I mean, I could not, I mean, it's 4 a.m. at night here, and it's almost Fajr. And I've been thinking about this whole session. It was a very short session, by the way. And we don't do elaborate studies because obviously Hebrew is difficult. And I'm not as good of a learner, or maybe I was just not taking these sessions like, I mean, I was taking them really seriously, but not that seriously. But I think today's session just hit me with something, and I thought that, I mean, I could not sleep. I was thinking about it, and I was very teary, emotional and teary, because it was just overwhelming spiritually. So this person said that people the Gentile people who convert to Judaism, usually they get a new name. If they do not have a biblical name, they would get a biblical name. For instance, my name is Mahjabeen, which is of Afghan origin. My mother of Afghan language origin. So and Persia, I think, yeah. So yeah, but so people who don't have like biblical names would get biblical names, and then they would be called, I mean, their father's name and mother's name would be replaced with Prophet Abraham and his wife Sarah, who was also a prophetess. And so then if somebody like me, who's a Muslim and who doesn't have a religious, biblical or Abrahamic name, would get a name, a biblical name. For instance, in my case, my mother always wanted to name me Maryam, but my father was opposed to it for some reason, personal, which I would not like to share. But yeah, she wanted to name me Maryam after the, Jesus' mother Maryam. And of course, Moses' elder sister also. So, but anyhow, if I or any other girl would convert to Judaism, she would get if she doesn't have a Jewish name, biblical name, she would get a biblical name. So if I become Maryam, then I'll be Maryam Bath Abraham instead of Maryam Bath Alam, Muhammad Alam. So my Muhammad Alam is my father's name. So if I convert to Judaism, I'll get to be, I mean, it literally means I get to be the daughter of Prophet Abraham. I mean, this is what that person said, that this, and Bat means it's same as when we say some guy's name and then it's bin something, so Osama bin Laden. Okay, wrong comparison, but my head is not working appropriately because I'm in that zone of, a very spiritually elevated concept. And this thing was, this immediately reminded me of the concept of Lech Lecha, which I got to know very long time ago. When initially I was, getting to know what Jewish concepts are and what Judaism is. So Lech Lecha was basically, it means in short that Hashem asked Abraham to meet his parents and leave the lands and the ways of his ancestors and move to in a place or towards a direction which Hashem would guide him through. And eventually he reached Canaan along with Sarah and Hagar, and not Hagar actually, Sarah and Isaac. So so it actually also is a similar thing for a convert. A convert has to leave the ways of his or her ancestor, the place where they are, and leave the family and then join the family of Abraham basically, and Isaac, and join that legacy, join that family and be part of that community. So this was something I was so astonished that, previously I've heard many friends and some Jewish people also saying that, Gentiles, when they convert to Judaism, first of all, Jews don't encourage conversion, and they don't, they don't prophesize and say, come join our club or our community. And if someone actually tries to be a Jew, it's very, very difficult. And now after all this time, I realize why it was difficult. Because it's not just, it's not like a Muslim concept that you say Ashhadu la ilaha illallah and done, you're Muslim, and then you gradually know how to pray and verse by verse, and it keeps going on, but you become Muslim instantly by saying few words. Similarly, when you can become a Christian by going to a church, baptizing, and it's quite convenient. But here it's not convenient, and there is a very deep spiritual reason behind it, because it's not converting to Judaism or certain way of living. It's not about I saying the Shema, or I would learn the blessing of Shabbat over candles, or dipping into the mikvah, or learning the ways of kosher living and kosher food and everything. It's literally becoming a daughter or a son to Abraham and Sarah. It's like taking that Lech Lecha. It still gets me emotional. So it's literally like, you're making the Lech Lecha in your terms, but metaphorically with Prophet Abraham, and I'm really sorry. I'll just stop that. Sorry. So I mean, literally, it actually means that you are. I'm really sorry. I was just in that zone, and I think I will not edit it or cut it, because I think a lot of people sort of see that there is this Jewish privilege, and they discourage people and don't let people into their Jewish club out of arrogance and out of that this is very exclusive. Well, yeah, it is exclusive because Abraham and Sarah are adopting children, Gentile children, and they better be worth it, because I mean it's not like a project or a let's give it a try. I would be a good let's see if I be a good Jew or not. I mean it's you become part of the family, and now I understand why the rabbis actually discourage people and send them off with 3-4 times that go back and think about it and rethink your decision, because you're not just going to lose your religion or your ways. You are going to have new parents, and parents Sarah and Abraham. It's like, okay, it's like it's not even equivalent to anything else. I mean, it's huge. It calls for a lot of emotional, spiritual responsibility from a convert also. And then if I personally see it for myself, that there was this time that I had serious, I mean there is this time that I seriously considered that maybe Islam is not for me. Maybe I should convert to Judaism. I just feel so drawn towards it, and I understand it, and I feel something towards it. But now that I know, even for me it feels like a huge responsibility. I need to look back and see that am I worth being a daughter to Prophet Abraham and Prophetess Sarah? I mean, the kind of, the covenant that they had, the amount of faith they had with Hashem, that they just left their community, their lives, everything, and they just went into a direction, and yeah, it's huge. And having that faith in the midst of, and I remember, and immediately I remember once Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said that how it is to have that faith in the midst of extreme vulnerability. And he sort of make this analogy between the marital relationship between the Jewish people and God as a vulnerable relationship with extreme amount of faith, that Abraham said, yeah, I'm ready to take this covenant and this commitment with you, if it takes leaving my community, my life, everything that I've known all my life, and starting over, and then you will be blessing me with so many children and in a whole nation. And yeah, and it takes a lot of faith, it takes a lot of bravery and courage, but it's also extremely vulnerable, because it was just Sarah and Abraham. It was just the two of them, and it's just so amazing. There is this marital sort of relationship between Hashem and Sarah, Hashem and Abraham, and then they're both married too, so they're working in sort of this metaphysical, in this physical world, and yet they're connected to God in a similar sort of relationship, metaphorically, metaphysically. I mean, it was just, I mean, I'm just so grateful to this person who has been taking, I mean, this has been the 4th week, yeah, today, I mean, sorry, today not, the last night, now it's mornings, 4 a.m., so almost Fajr. So the last night was the 4th session, third or fourth, I'm just totally lost. So these are few sessions with this person that he has taken the time out to teach me. I mean, I'm a Muslim from Pakistan, and that person has taken the time out to teach me Torah, and that in itself just hit me today. I mean the previous lessons I was okay, yeah, it's fun. I could read Torah, and I would be able to understand Hebrew. I mean, I could read Hebrew, and I could read the Torah, the Bible text. Wow, so that would be fun. Yeah, sure, teach me. But the significance of he being available to me, and taking the time out, that's huge. I'm really sorry, but I think I'm not gonna cut it. But I think it's wonderful. I don't even know that I deserve it or not, because yeah. So I don't think that I deserve this much of. I think it's more of that person, but I think it's more Hashem. Probably. I mean, he would probably have 10 other things to do in his life, and whatever his routine is, whatever he is doing, work, this, that. But still Hashem has, saying that this girl, you're going to teach him to read Torah, and he's like, okay, fine, I'll just take some hour or some 14 minutes, 45 minutes an hour a week, and then he just sent me. I mean, his dedication, and he was then sending me those alphabets and everything. And I was saying, I count on you, and I said, dude, I mean, what is happening? But this is enlightening. So I wanted to share this. I mean, I don't know where life takes me. I mean, it's subjective, and you never really know where you end up. But those people who are seriously thinking to convert to Judaism, and who have the means, and who are in a place where they have this really easiness to do that, I would encourage them to think of becoming a Jew, but with very much responsibility and very much commitment, and this very awareness that this means much more than just converting or changing a religion or changing a way of life. Rabbi Menes once shared this incident that there was this woman, she was very excited and she was following all the kosher laws and keeping Shabbat and being so religious, and then she converted, and Rabbi Menes Friedman said that then she said that all of a sudden when I converted, I just lost the excitement. So now I understand and I was wondering that how can somebody be this committed in that, and then you convert, and then you just lose interest in, lighting the Shabbat candles, or being a little less religious, then becoming even more religious after converting. But now I realize, I mean, you're so desperate. It's like a child in the orphanage. That child is so nice. That child just plays so nice and so desperate to have parents, to have home. And once the parents come and they legally adopt that orphan child, and by the way, I am an orphan, which is it's a strange analogy. I don't know what's happening today. It's a strange couple of it's strange time. So a strange day. I think the entire day yesterday till now has been very spiritually impacting to me personally. Yeah, very much. So I mean, like I said, so an orphan kid is adopted by a family. So he has a home, and he has a parent, he has parents, he has a home. So he's acting like a child. He's no longer that nice kid who dressed up well, and the people come and they should like me and take me and give me the home and their name, and I would get that. So that sort of effort. So and it makes sense, and it also tells us that Judaism is not about rituals. It's about family connection, and it's about family legacy. And many Gentiles say, oh, Jews are racist. You have to be born Jewish, and it runs in the family. You need to. But that makes sense. Today, thanks to this guy who has been teaching me Torah online from far a place, I'm so overwhelmed that I have this awareness of this sensitivity and this crucial, detail, that what it actually means to be a Jew. And some people just, I shouldn't be commenting. I'm nothing against them, but people who just go to reform Judaism, and those lenient sections of Judaism, and they say, okay, fine, we'll not do that, now we're Jewish. And the Orthodox, and then when they go for, getting married, or, making an aliyah to Israel, and the Orthodox rabbinate would say, no, you're not Jewish, because you were converted by the Reform Jewish synagogue or whatever. So, now I understand what exactly those Orthodox rabbi are trying to, tell us. They're just being so nice, and how can you tell somebody that, okay, people, you need to understand, you're going to be the sons and daughter of Abraham and Sarah. It's much more than keeping Shabbat, keeping kosher, or marrying into Jews and not. And there was another rabbi who I don't exactly remember who, but he once said that if a convert converts to Judaism and then he goes back to his religion, it was asked the rabbi. So there was this question that this person, he was some other religion, and then he converted to Judaism, and then he went back to his religion. So what is his status now? So Rabbi said if he was converted orthodoxly, he is still a Jew. He cannot become. So, how can Abraham and Sarah would adopt you as your children, and then you go back and you start your own life, or go back not considering what Abraham and Sarah taught to their other children, but you still be their children. It doesn't matter if I convert to Judaism and then I go back to Islam, but I am now Maryam Bat Abraham. I cannot be married, because that was was very profound, and I thought that I should share this. And also,